Have you ever received a Christmas gift that just felt wrong? I'm not talking about getting socks from your aunt again. I'm talking about a present that, from the moment you touch it, sends a cold splinter of dread right down your spine. A feeling that has nothing to do with the winter chill outside. My family's tradition was to open one, and only one, gift on Christmas Eve. It was always a small, special present, meant to be a teaser for the main event the next morning. Last year, my parents gave me a box wrapped in faded, slightly yellowed paper, printed with smiling Santas from what looked like the 1950s. They said they found it at a dusty old antique shop on a weekend trip, a unique little treasure. Inside was a jack-in-the-box, but it wasn't a cheerful, brightly colored one. This thing was made of dark, heavy wood, intricately carved with strange, thorny vines instead of holly. The clown painted on the side wasn't smiling, it had a blank, neutral expression, and its eyes seemed to follow you. The crank was made of tarnished brass. My dad laughed and said, "Give it a crank, son." Hesitantly, I turned the handle. It didn't play "Pop Goes the Weasel." It played a tune I'd never heard before, a tinkling, delicate melody that was horribly, unsettlingly off-key, like a music box that was slowly dying. Every few notes, one would be flat, creating a jarring discord that made my teeth ache. I kept cranking, my heart pounding with a weird mix of curiosity and fear, waiting for the pop. But nothing happened. The song just ended. My dad shrugged. "Guess it is broken." Still, a neat decoration, though. We placed it on the mantelpiece above the fireplace, and that's when I first noticed it. For a split second, I could have sworn the clown's painted expression had changed, the neutral line of its mouth now curved ever so slightly downwards into a frown. That night, I couldn't sleep. Our house was silent, except for the gentle hum of the refrigerator and the occasional creak of the old floorboards. Then I heard it. Faintly, from downstairs, it was the music box tune. That same discordant, off-key melody, tinkling slowly in the dark. I told myself it was just the house settling, or maybe the wind. But the sound was too perfect, too clear. I buried my head under the pillow until it finally stopped. The next morning, on Christmas Day, the jack-in-the-box was no longer on the mantelpiece. It was sitting on the floor, right in the middle of the living room, directly in front of the Christmas tree. My mom just assumed I'd gotten up early to play with it, and I didn't correct her. How could I explain the icy fear that was gripping me? All day, I tried to ignore it. I opened my other presents, played with my new toys, but my eyes kept getting drawn back to that dark, wooden box. It just sat there, silent and watchful. That afternoon, while everyone was napping after Christmas dinner, I saw my little cousin, who's only 4, toddling over to it. Before I could stop her, she started turning the crank. The horrible melody filled the quiet room again. She giggled, cranking it faster and faster. I yelled at her to stop, which made her cry and sent my aunt rushing in. I got a scolding for being mean on Christmas, but all I could think about was the look on the box's painted face. I was sure, absolutely certain, that its expression had changed again. This time, it was a smirk. That night was the worst. The house was filled with the quiet breathing of my sleeping family. Around 2 a.m., the music started again, but this time it wasn't downstairs. It was coming from right outside my bedroom door. Slowly, deliberately, each flat note hung in the air like a drop of poison. I was paralyzed with fear, my eyes locked on the thin strip of light under my door, waiting for a shadow to fall across it. The music played through its full cycle once, then stopped. There was a long, terrible silence. And then I heard a soft, dry scratching sound on my door. It was a tiny, rhythmic sound. Scrape, scrape, scrape. like a single, sharp fingernail being dragged slowly across the wood. I didn't scream. I couldn't. I just lay there, tears streaming down my face, listening to that sound for what felt like an eternity. Eventually, it stopped. I don't know when I finally passed out from sheer exhaustion, but when I woke up, the sun was streaming through my window. I crept out of bed and opened my door. The hallway was empty, but there on the floor, right in front of my door, was the jack-in-the-box. It was sitting perfectly upright, and the lid was no longer closed. It was open, just a crack. A sliver of profound, suffocating darkness was visible inside. I never told my parents the full story. When they asked where the toy went, I just said I'd lost it. I took that box, wrapped it in 3 trash bags, sealed it with a whole roll of duct tape, and buried it deep in the woods behind our house. Sometimes on quiet winter nights, especially around Christmas, I think I can hear it. A very faint, off-key melody carried on the wind. And I wonder what would have happened if I had stayed in my room. What would have happened if I had let it finish its song? And what exactly was supposed to pop out?